Hello, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, bringing you another edition of Dragons in Modern and mulliganing this 6-land hand with a Sarkhan. Yeah, this is rough. Beginning of the mulligan the last game too. Alright, well this is a much better looking hand, although we have 0 removal. We'll keep this. And we will put Serad Mesa to the bottom. So yeah, we're looking to have a bit of an aggressive start with our 1 and 2 drops, really 1 drops. Doorkeeper Thrall is there that protects our X1s from things like Bowmasters. It does some other things too that are that's powerful. And transition then into our 3-drop Gideons to start pressuring our opponents or nerfing whatever they're doing until we can stick a Sarkhan the Masterless on turn 5, swing in, turn all of our Planeswalkers into Dragons and attack our oh, grief. Ugh. Well, so Doorkeeper Thrall would shut down Grief if they had waited a turn. And assuming they have the Scam combo, they are going to take both of our non-land cards. We will draw a card, I guess, off of the Scam piece. Maybe that's what they were trying to decide, if it was worth it or not. Yeah, Doorkeeper Thrall is actually pretty good against things like Grief and the Evoke Elementals that trigger on ETB. Alright, so they did not have the Scam piece. Which means they probably are going to take a hit and then bolt. Pay for it and kill this thing. And also our Bowmasters. Bowmasters shuts down, or Doorkeeper Thrall shuts down Bowmasters, which is one reason why it's in the deck. It does a surprising amount of good work, like we saw this Grief when it enters the battlefield. So if they had waited, we would have been able to nerf the Grief. It stops Primeval Titan, it stops Stoneforge Mystic. And Primeval Titan only stops the ETB, so it slows them down. If they get to untap and attack us, then we're probably still going to die. But yeah, anyway, so could have been worse. They could have taken our Gideon too. Here comes the Thoughtseize. They're going to pay for it. They're going to take our Gideon. Keep us from drawing a card. I'll just yield to the next end step. We have nothing going on, as they know. Yep. So it's depending on what their follow-up play is. So, man, you know, this land, we can get the land and do it, and then guarantee getting a Karn sign of Urza down, or we can pitch the land and risk not drawing another one. I'm going to put it on top, and the main reason I'm putting it on top is because we have another Elegant Parlor, and I've just gotten mana screwed so often with this deck. Our Hardened Scales matchup, granted we did get up to 4 lands, but 2 of them were Urza Saga, so then we didn't draw another land until, well, we just didn't draw another land, so we ended up losing the game with 2 lands on the battlefield. And then we hit our mana, did everything we wanted to in game 2 and won that game, and then game 3 we just flooded out. So maybe we're going to be on the flood end of this, but our opponent, see what they're up to. They know what's in our hand. If they don't have a way of stripping it, then we at least get either a little bit of card draw or an artifact, a 2/2 artifact token. Woo! It looks like they have a Bowmasters. So this is where we want to see the Doorkeeper Thrall. Gideon's a good draw. It does die to Bowmasters. I'll leave it on top. So we can play the Gideon, and then when they flash in the Bowmasters, we can always just give it indestructible. We can play the Karn, get a Karnstruct, or make a Karnstruct and it go to 3. They will flash in, the Bowmasters kill this, we'll be left with a 1/1. We're down to no elegant parlors in our library though. So we'll play this. See if our opponent is familiar with Gideon, hero of Akros. Yeah, I'm assuming the Bowmasters is coming down here, and at the very least though, they don't have a, yep, here comes the Bowmasters. So the Thrall would have been really nice there. See what they target. Give it indestructible. They can jump block, trade their army for the Esper Sentinel, which seems like a pretty good trade for our opponent. So Doorkeeper Thrall, where they stripped it on turn 1, would have really been an all-star. Is an all-star against this matchup if we can draw it. If we can have 2 copies before they don't double scam us or double grief us. Mardu. So I'm assuming our Gideon is now dead to another Bowmasters. I mean, our opponent hasn't committed any creatures to the board, so they either have a kill spell or another Bowmasters. Or a Fable. It could be a Fable. What do we want to draw? Lightning Bolt's good. Karn, Sign of Urza is also a legitimate play right here. We kind of want to protect our Gideon, so we're just going to swing in. It's possible this is the wrong play to just keep up mana to protect Gideon. They're probably going to flash into Bowmasters anyway. So we're going to Karn. We're not going to try to save the Gideon when they would just flat. Oh, reprieve. That's why they're playing white. Got it. Alright. Fair enough. So at least it's not the typical Rakdos scam. They have a little bit of, they're splashing for white for a reprieve and maybe some other stuff. Get their 4th land drop. Is it going to be time for, nope. Alright, maybe they just have more reprieves. Well, now that we've seen the reprieve, we might want to play around Mana Tithe. And reprieve number 2. Run it back. Alright, opponent. Get those reprieves out. I mean, they're not casting creatures, right? So they must have something in their 4-card hand. Hmm. 5 mana is necessary for something. I wonder what big horror is coming our way. Dothy of Voidwalker. Cool. They have the scam mana too, so it looks like they're going to Thoughtseize us. Fable. So they don't have... So we'll bolt the Dothy. At least we'll get this Karn down. They're going to have a Fable though to refill their hand. Can we get a good draw here? A kill spell would be nice for this Goblin Shaman. Getting Blackblade. Well, worst case scenario, we get a land out of this and make our land drops. Take number 3. We will plus it up. It's possible we should have gone for the Construct. A land and a Ragavan, so I guess we're getting the land. They gave us the Ragavan, they must have the kill spell. Or maybe what was... Yeah, I don't... Maybe they misclicked or they just have an answer. Or they have a Dothy and a kill spell. And they want to exile the Ragavan and cast it themselves. Who knows? Good chance it was a misclick. Given that Karn Sign of Urza doesn't get played in Modern. So if our opponent, I mean, they're up to 3 cards. Discarded. Waiting. No, Bowmaster. Okay. Sure. So they didn't discard. Alright. What do we need now? Could use... Sarkhan would be a good draw. Sarkhan would probably be our best draw right now. Grief. Yay! Our opponent had a sweet hand. They didn't even use the Fable. They didn't need to. Sarkhan? Hey, it's a Sarkhan. There is hope. There is hope in this world. Maybe we want to wait. Let's think about this for a second. Do we want to? We make a. So we play Sarkhan. We make a dragon. They can't. These 2 things die as soon as we attack. Is this a draw? Or we put it into our card. Put a card on. Okay. So these 2 things die. We would have the dragon and the Construct to block. All right. So I think that's what we want to do. We could just make a dragon or swing in for 4, but that doesn't kill our opponent. Is our opponent's last card going to be a kill spell or a Shieldred or something really busted? It'd be nice if, I mean, they didn't discard a single card, so I assume it's something good. I mean, if we can protect this Karn and the Sarkhan, we're gonna win next turn. If we can't, yep, there goes the Fatal Push. Well, you know, you live the dream briefly, and then it becomes the nightmare. So now they're going to kill both of our Planeswalkers. And hit us, probably. Yeah, I mean, opponents had it all this game. They had a slow start in the sense that they didn't commit any creatures to the battlefield. Each dragon you control deals 1 damage to that creature. Okay. I don't have any dragons, but that's cool. So we have... Who's attacking what? Sarkhan is getting attacked by the Army token and Goblin Shaman token. Karn is being attacked by Grief. Alright, well, I mean, we want to keep our Sarkhan alive if we can. Yeah, I mean, our opponent's drawn extraordinarily well and is playing MH2 Horizon cards. And Lord of the Rings, Orcish Bowmasters. Alright, Esper Sentinel. Go ahead and run that out there. Will we get to draw a card off of it? Will they kill our Planeswalker with their 1 remaining card? Yeah, I mean, so, you know, they're playing some really powerful cards. One of the best decks in Modern. A lot of 2-for-1s. Here they appear to have a Solitude, so they also have a Solitude. Alright. Well, good running, opponent. Good running. I mean, what can you do? They didn't even discard with Fable. They just naturally drew into all this hotness. So look at this board state. Fable and Orcish Bowmasters are not NH2 cards. but we all know how powerful Orcish Bowmasters is, and then we have, and how powerful Fable is. And you have just, this is why they're in Mardu, I guess, for Solitude. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to win. Now they have some instant speed. Grief. Yeah. Obnoxious. So you're not, I mean, yeah, we're not going to win there, but we're not going to beat this draw. I mean, there's just very little way we can beat that draw. We did okay, but we can't keep up with all that. And they just had it all. And we did okay. Could have been better, but it could have been worse. I'm not even sure that we want anything. I mean, Rest in Peace can shut down their scam, but I mean, we have to be able to resolve it. What's bad against our opponent? Just our whole game plan. I mean, let's be honest. Oh man, I listen back to my recordings, and I normally have a fairly monotone voice, but then I'm like, man, I just sound so depressed every time. I'm so sad. I mean, losing is no fun, but you kind of like play. You have to be optimistic, but on the other hand, just how do you beat what our opponent's doing with what we're doing? This is, a janky build looking to turn planeswalkers into dragons, and our opponent's doing two for ones, 3 for ones, playing some of the best cards in Modern. We're just hoping to win a game against this deck, but hoping to get like a 2-3 or 3-2 in our league. We have the answers. I mean, we have cards that can interact and compete, but not when they take them and then draw the way they did. They had a slowish start. They griefed us on turn 1, Thoughtseize us on turn 2. I guess the slow start only being I'm used to that happening, plus like a 2-drop or a Ragavan being cast. So like sort of slow start for them. I don't know if Rest in Peace is really where we want to be at. I mean, Grief is terrible, but it's if they cast a Grief on turn 1, they're going to take our Rest in Peace anyway. And if we draw it later, I'm not sure it's going to be that good. Alright, run it like that. Can we navigate this matchup? We have a Mountain and we have an Urza Saga. We were really good at finding Sarkhan the Masterless in our opening 7, and there's only 4 of them, and it's the last card we want to see in our opening 7 because it needs a whole bunch of setup to be any good, and it doesn't come down till turn 5 anyway. Oh man, well, we can mulligan, or we can just I mean, we can trust that we can keep this hand and hopefully draw lands and then just die, or we can mulligan and hope to have a better hand and then get stripped by what our opponent's doing with their shenanigans. And we're down to 1 land. Well, and it's even a plains. Another Sarkhan. Man, Sarkhan, please. You're going to ruin my fun of having you in my deck by always appearing in my opening 7. That time we had the 4-drop and the 5-drop in our opening 7. Yay! How much are we getting scammed? Yeah, I mean, there's only 8 copies of 4 and 5 drops, and then we get to see them both. And our openings, I mean, we mulled, get to see both of them. It's really nice. Well, it looks like we're not getting scammed on turn 1 at least. Opponent's taking pity on us probably. Like, well, they're playing real jank deck. We don't need to scam them on turn 1. Put it on top. So we can play the Urza Saga, and then we're priced into making Constructs next turn. So I think we're just going to run this out, pay the life, pass the turn. Alright, well, for a 5 mana hand, or 5 card hand, excuse me. At least we didn't get Thoughtseized or scammed on turn 1. So this way they could be playing around Doorkeeper Thrall by evoking the Grief, holding up a Lightning Bolt to kill the Doorkeeper Thrall with the Grief trigger on the stack. Alright. Opponent's not doing much, which makes me wonder how many kill spells they have. I'm assuming a Bowmaster's is coming out here. Which, that would be the best possible scenario for us because we can respond with this Doorkeeper Thrall. Or they just have a very slow, we'll see, a very slow hand that has a very top end power that we were not going to be able to keep up with. But looks like Bowmasters. Nope. No Bowmasters. They must have cut back on some of the early drops to make room for the Reprieves and Solitudes. Well, we're going to lose the Gideon, I imagine. So they're Thought Seizing into Bowmasters is what it looks like. So good on our opponent playing around the Doorkeeper Thrall that they've seen in the previous game. They played around it, didn't do it on the end of their turn. Going to kill our Ragavan before we resolve the Doorkeeper Thrall. So sniff that one out. And that's the best, that's all we could do though. They're going to take, they probably would either take the Doorkeeper Thrall there. Who knows, maybe if we had held back they would have taken the Gideon anyway and we would have been able to protect the Ragavan, but I have a feeling they would have going to take the Doorkeeper Thrall and then have an answer for the Gideon. Now the question is, do we want to risk losing our hand to Thought Seizes and the like? Well, we don't have a hand anymore, or do we want to go ahead and make Karnstrucks? Right on time, Sarkhan the Masterless. Right on time. Holy cow, I swear I'm never going to play this deck again if I keep drawing Sarkhan the Masterless. I just am really good at drawing it. If this was my Luca deck, I would not be so good at drawing Lucas when I needed them. So yet again another game where we have our 4 and 5 drop in hand and not making mana, making our land drops. And next turn we're going to go down a land. So we're in trouble. We are in trouble. At least we felt competitive against and now they have mana for anything they want, really. But they can do another Bowmasters to kill our Karnstruct that we're going to take a turn here to make, but we have nothing else to do. Anyway, I felt competitive against Hardened Scales Affinity. It just does not feel competitive against this pile of MH2 cards, the best cards in Modern. Fable. Yeah, I mean, we're playing a very mid-rangey style of deck that doesn't have as many 2-for-1s or 3-for-1s. And decks like this that our opponents are playing, are just going to feast on our deck because we're just they have too much interaction and we don't get the land. Too much interaction, we're too slow. You know, we're only doing one or two things a turn at the most. What do we want to draw? Relic would at least be a redraw. Expedition Map could go get us a land if we can't make our land drops. Shadow Spear could buy us some time, assuming our opponent doesn't just run away with the game right here and now. Swing in with the Thrall. So when we're doing one or two, I mean, our best card is Urza Saga, which happens to be an MH2 card, of course. So Ragavan is a close second, another MH2 card. So some of our best cards are going to be coming on the back, or are going to be cards from Modern Horizons 2, same as our opponents. But then our mid and late game is obviously very janky, and we're doing one thing or two things a turn. Not two things a turn, but one thing a turn typically. Our opponent, meanwhile, is gaining all this extra value out of the cards they have on the battlefield, plus still getting 2 for and 3 for 1s with cards that do answer what we are trying to do. So yeah, I mean it's definitely an uphill battle playing decks like this against the best decks in the format. But you know, I enjoy brewing. I enjoy the dragons. Sarkhan the Masterless is just one of my pet decks. That is. Legion's End. Exile target creature an opponent controls with mana value 2 or less, and all other creatures that player controls with the same name. And then we reveal our hand. Yay! That's a good answer for the constructs. And they have perfect information of our terrible, terrible hand. Sarkhan the Masterless is just my pet deck. I had some success with it early on in my Gruul version. Granted, it was not in a league. It was playing against, you know, in the free-to-play section, but you know, I think I beat Infect with it. You know, I was playing against legitimate, at least two decks, and it was competitive. But I haven't been able to replicate that. But I'm still just I really like it, and I really want to make it work. And then it just doesn't, and I get sad. Like this game's basically over. We're not gonna. Hey, we hit a land though. I mean, we'll try to equip here, and then when they kill our Thrall, we will probably scoop. Our opponent's probably just going to take the hit, play a land, and cast Solitude. Maybe they'll wait till our turn, and then we can Doorkeeper Thrall them and hose their Solitude. Oh, Solitude won't work anyway, because we already have the Doorkeeper Thrall up. So, yay, Doorkeeper Thrall, get there. So if our opponent does nothing else, except what they're doing now, is there a world in which we win? If we go land, perhaps. I mean, we're only taking 4 a turn. I just can't imagine with 4 cards in hand they don't have something to kill what we're doing. Alright, our reprieve. Let's get a land. Let's run these lands together so we have a chance. Alright, well, do it again. Can we win this race? And then yeah, our Esper Sentinel. So I mean, we have 3 Modern Horizon 2 cards, and those are our best cards. Solitude. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 other target creature. Okay. So they're just getting a faster clock on us because it's not actually going to kill anything. And it gives them lifelink. So now we're no longer winning the race. We are actively losing the race. What do we want to block though, if we block anything? It's just going to do Reflector. Yep. Kiki Jiki for Solitude. Now they're definitely winning the race. Yeah, just too much value out there. Hitting for 8. Going up to 17. We go to 4. Double bolt just for the rub ends. We'll flash in another Doorkeeper Thrall, but it's too little too late. If we'd hit land into a Sarkhan, it still would have been too little too late. I mean, they're going to be making this, they're going to be doing this every turn. Gideon can nerf that. I mean, we'll play it out for the reps and then see if they have that reprieve. So we can nerf one of these. And then they can make another one. And we can chump block that. Alright, well we're going to stay like this. See what our opponent has. I mean, they have so many cards in hand that it's hard to believe that we can. They're probably saving Thought Seizes or Griefs for when we make another land drop, because they don't care about the Karn. They're not going to die to the Karn with their board state, but they could theoretically in a world die to Sarkhan, making a bunch of dragon or planeswalkers into dragons. See if they make cast another Solitude, and then we will be left dying. Well, we gain a little bit of life, up to 2 if they cast another Solitude and then copy it. Alright. I mean, they have 5 cards in hand. It feels like opponents just toying with us / trying to win without committing more to the board in case we draw a sweeper or something like that, or land sweeper. But it just, or they could have all lands, but it's doubtful. Because any creature. I mean, last turn, I guess they did flash into Solitude, and then they just copied it. That was all they did. And then this turn, to see what they do. But even a Ragavan or a Voidwalker, just one more creature we can't block when we're at 4 life would be enough. And they just passed the turn. Interesting. That seems foolish, unless they have some really big plans. March of Otherworldly Light. So if this, I think it counts the front side, if I remember correctly. So we could continue to do this, or we can make this into a soldier and attack and probably just have it die. We could emblem, but we don't have. Alright, so we'll nerf the Solitude. We have March of Otherworldly Light. In a pinch, I guess. Still can't manage. I mean, at least it's a kill spell that we drew. So now they're going to do it at the end step. Alright. Then they're going to do it again, I guess. Another solid thing. Alright, so they weren't playing with us. They were just setting up for one big lethal swing. And yep, we're going to be taking 9, going up to 6. We can't exile anything, and GG. So for Johnny Cycles with cyclesgaming.com, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
This is Johnny Cycles with cyclesgaming.com, and this has been another edition of Dragons in Modern. Be sure to go to my site and check out all of my original Magic the Gathering content, where I post articles and video of my janky modern brews in my commander decks. I'm also publishing a couple chapters every month for my science fiction fantasy novel called The Pod Kind. Check me out on YouTube as well. Click that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.